Today I'm going to show you how I made this multi-purpose rack to utilize the space you've got for more purposes. So material-wise, this is once again extremely simple. What I've basically used is an off-cut piece of plywood. This is shutter ply, so it's very cheap and simple. I need a piece of dowel stick. The thickness depends on your own preference. It can be thicker. Okay, and then I've also got some off-cut pieces of normal plain off-cut or recycled or reclaimed wood. This, I believe, was pieces of pallet wood, off-cut pieces that's left. So extremely simple pieces. So what I've first done is I've taken the piece of plywood, let's put that aside, and the pieces that I've cut from it was basically two rectangular pieces like so. And we'll get to the purpose of those in a moment. And then also what I've cut is I've cut two more almost rectangular pieces. They've got a slight angle in the one end, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. Now, the main idea is that I would want this to stand up straight like this. The dial stick would be in the middle, more or less at the bottom, and this obviously would be to accommodate the paper towel holder like that, which would be on the dial stick. And then obviously one of these would be on the other end. And then on top, in order to basically use the space that's wasted above the paper towel stand and to make it a bit more multi-purpose, I'm taking these two square pieces like so. I'm putting the one above the appropriate height that paper towel stand is going to take, and the other one I'm just going to put above it, so that it's a two-step system like so. Now, the main reason for that is, well, there's two reasons. Because obviously, the one reason would be this would be the front. If you would look from the front, the back one would be a slight bit higher than the front one, and you can more easily see what spices you do have. Obviously, the width of the stand would be to accommodate two spice holders, which would be more or less like this, if you're going to look from the front. So the width is efficient enough to accommodate two of them. And then obviously the offcut pieces that I've got will be one on the one end, like so basically, just at the top end to keep the spices falling forward, and one on the back side as well to keep them from falling back. Now, how am I going to get this dowel stick to be removed and to insert basically the paper towel roll? So what I have done is on the inside of both of these pieces, I've made a groove for the dowel stick to be able to slip in and out. So how did I do this? Well, basically first I've got the bottom part and I've found the appropriate space or location where I want the center dowel to be. You'll see it's a bit more located towards the front of the stand, so that if the paper towel roll gets smaller, you can still reach it. And it's a slight bit off the bottom so that it doesn't touch the bottom part. And once again, you're going to put this in and out at the back like so. Obviously, this will be connected. Let's put it upside down like so. And if you can imagine, this is going to be in and out in that manner, which is very simple. And obviously, gravity will do the part holding it there once it's in. So you'll be able to take it out like this, put on your paper towel roll, put it in, and it will be kept in place. Now, since the back part or the back stand would be a slight bit higher than the front one, like so, there's enough space at the back to lift this stick or this dowel stick a slight bit to pull it out. So on the way out, if you're going to look at it like this, the paper towel roll will still be below the basically stands for the spices. So that is basically the idea. Now that you've seen what the plan is and how I plan to assemble this, let's get around to doing that. Okay, well, this is the unit now that has been assembled. The only thing I've added now is I've added the front and the back part of it. You can see the two different levels for the spices. Um, Simply attached by screws like you saw me doing in the video. And if we turn it around like so, you'll see that the dowel stick was also cut to the appropriate length, a bit wider than the inside, but a bit narrower than the outside. In other words, just to fit comfortably in the grooves. And that is basically it. It's a very simple design. I was incredibly pleased to see how simple this worked. Now, the grooves I did with the router, but there are many options. You can use a drill bit and simply drill a bunch of holes to the required depth and then just chisel out the remaining parts. Or you can actually use two pieces of wood and just different layers basically and put it at either side of where you want the groove, and you can make your own groove with pieces of wood. But I'm not going to go into too much depth about that now. So, paper towel roll, we're going to put the dowel stick through it like so, and simply slide it in there all the way to the front. You're going to turn it around, and you'll see that works quite comfortably. If you want a piece, you just take a piece, tear it off, and you've got it. Simple as that. Now, on the top part where the spices go, the reason I didn't put any support in between the two layers was for the following reason. If you were to perhaps put a, a bottle or a spice bottle that's a slightly bit larger than the regular size ones, you would still want it to fit in there. So I've got a couple of examples. I've got a couple of big ones that can go in the back, even though they look like they may still fit on their own. Some things like this have got a fairly fat bottom, and that would have not been able to fit would there been a support. So let's continue putting some of these spice bottles up there. Quite simple, not difficult at all. I mean, it's basically stacking spices. And you'll see with the two layers like this, there is more than sufficient space for all of the spices. And look at the efficient use of space now. You no longer just have a spice rack or just have a paper towel roll rack. You've basically got it combined. And once again, this is completely portable. So you can take this from your kitchen to your dinner table or your dining room table, whichever you want to call it. And that is it. You can obviously decorate this, you can stain it, you can cover it with some clear coat, you can paint it, whatever decoration suits your style. So if you do like this idea, please be sure to like the video and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not done so yet. So until next time, thank you very much, guys.